No. It's
We only have one that's signed in, and I will open up to the floor. John Yakim, if you would, please.
Good evening. My name is John Yakim, and I do live in Monroeville. Mr. Mayor, members of council, Manager Sedlak, good evening to all of you. Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to address you in council again this evening. It has certainly been a hectic week for the municipality. I have one particular area of concern this evening, and that has to do with the first day of Mr. Sedlak's tenure. Mr. Sedlak was appointed last Tuesday evening. Approximately 14 hours later, Mr. Sedlak unhired 5 new police officers who were legally hired by the previous manager. These were 5 men who had passed all the prerequisites to be Monroeville police officers. They had been given their fit-for-duty physicals and psychological exams. They had been told to order uniforms, and they were given their start date. My question is, whose decision was it to unhire these officers? Now, Mr. Mayor, before you answer my question, I want to share with you some of the rumors. The first rumor was that Mr. Sedlak was ordered by you to unhire those officers. You and I, and hopefully Mr. Sedlak, know that according to the Home Rule Charter, the mayor cannot order anyone to really do anything. The second rumor is that council ordered this reduction. I was at the last meeting. This was not part of any public discussion. Since the hiring was part of the 2013 budget, it would certainly seem that any change would involve a public meeting. I was also told that it was done in executive session. Again, I was at the last meeting, and there was no motion to go into executive session. Executive session was never advertised, and finally, council doesn't usually vote in executive session. Since the target of 50 cops had been part of the 2013 budget process and recent council discussions, it would seem to me that a reduction would be the purview of the manager with the advice of council, and any council activity should be public. Recently, the topic of hiring cops has been part of the public debate. However, at no time have I seen more than a handful of council members suggest a freeze of hiring cops to get us to our budgeted 50. Many times this has come up for discussion, but no motions or majority vote was ever made to reduce our department size or reduce the department budget. My understanding is that next year's proposed balanced budget calls for a force of 48 cops. But this reduction of 2 was to come about by the 5 anticipated retirements. By Mr. Sedlak unhiring these 5 officers and with the anticipated retirings, Mr. Sedlak reduces our department to a 40-man department in the first half of 2014. I find this level troubling because being that previous councils and previous budgets and at least 3 previous chiefs of police have put our department size needs in the range of the high 40s to the mid 50s. Reducing our size would mean a field day for various bad guys. 3 years ago, we were in the middle of a crime spree in our community. Burglaries and shootings were at an all-time high. I really do not want to go through that fear again. Now, Mr. Mayor, if Mr. Sedlak made this decision on his own, I would certainly consider that within his powers. However, I wonder how he could come to this reckless decision, which was counter to multiple managers, chiefs of police, and councils. He would have made this decision without the advice of a finance director and without a chief of police. He would have made this decision without having sat any budget discussions involving the police department. And he would have made this decision within hours of being appointed. Besides the legal jackpot that I think this decision puts our community with these 5 unhired officers, I feel the reduction of our police department to 40 officers is unsafe and will ultimately cause harm to either the residents or police officers. So, Mr. Mayor, I will ask my question one more time. Whose decision was it to unhire these officers?
Are you done?
Yes, I am.
Have a seat.
You're not going to answer my question?
It's a personnel issue. I will not respond to you.
It's not a personnel issue, sir. It's a budget issue.
I'm not going to even discuss this with you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just so I could
make some comments real quick, just so the public knows, as far as levels of police officers and the safety of Monroeville, to compare to other regions in our area. Cranberry Township, they have 27 full-time equivalent officers. Mount Lebanon is 44, Penn Hill's 45, Plum, 38, Upper St. Clair, 28, Bethel Park, 38, and North Huntington, 27. So just want to compare it to other areas where we are currently.
And just before I get turned over to other residents that would like to address it, I will address some of the misstatements that were made here this evening as well.
Mr. Mayor, before you do that, may I make one just brief comment, and that is the numbers that we've been looking at for other municipalities, townships, are not equivalent with the duties and responsibilities, and I would have hoped that even though you take a look at 36 versus 40 versus 45 versus 50, that you have some kind of an acuity scale to go along with it for services, because that's really what it amounts to, because of the business district and all the other things that are residential.
And Radnor, Pennsylvania, which most people don't know what Radnor is, but it's in the eastern U.S., a very comparable area to ours. 2012, they had 36 officers. 2013, they did budget for 40 officers for this upcoming year. So I agree, we have to compare apples to apples.
And you said Radnor, Pennsylvania?
Radnor.
They have a mall, convention center, 2 hospitals. I mean, I was looking at comparing it as well.
I mean, as far as hospitals, I'm not sure, but
We
very
get-
comparable in size, budget,
Well, I'm
square
just saying
miles,
our,
business
well,
district.
most of our highest calls are traffic accidents and retail thefts from obviously the retail section.
Right.
I didn't know if you're comparing, if that did, because I've never heard of it before.
I'll get it for you.
You know what, Council, if I can, I would really like to get back to our residents. This is their portion of the meeting. You certainly can address anything you would like in your report, if you would. So again, once again, I'll open it up to the floor to the residents to address council. Is there anybody else that would like to address council at this time?